Live from Buffalo, Missouri, at a blistering 97 degrees. Lyle Stokes, Cindy Stokes with guest Jeremy Coe. Welcome to Catfish Weekly. We have a bunch of stuff to go over tonight, Cindy, and I know that you've been in the air conditioning all day. Didn't even go out and get in a swimming pool.
Not at all.
Pretty warm. Pretty warm. I'm sure it's warm where Jeremy's at, but I think it's warm where everybody's at. But we do have some rain coming in, so that'll help things out a little bit. We have a couple things to go over before we get with Jeremy tonight. First off, I'd like to let everybody know that the doctor will not be along with us tonight. Again, he is home with Lynn. They found out today that Lynn has cancer, and he's sitting home with her taking care of her. I'm sure he's watching the show. For those of you that have been asking and sending messages and different things, please keep Doc and Lynn in your prayers. We're not going to elaborate on what's going on, but it's a bad situation, and we wish them the very best and get Lynn healed up as quick as they can. And as soon as everything works out, Doc will be back with us. That way we'll have the tips of the week and all of his insight and professional help that he gives us. So please, if you're thinking about them or talking to the big guy upstairs, please keep Doc in your prayers. Jeremy Coe, Tournament Director for Cabela's King Cat. Welcome to Catfish Weekly.
Awesome. Thank you for having me back, Lyle. It's been a while, I think. So
it has been, and we shouldn't wait so long. But, there's a lot of people we try to get on, and some that we miss and some that we don't get. And I got to tell you, Jeremy, we had a ball at your tournament the other day. I fished 2 of them so far this year. We've absolutely had a blast. It's really been a lot of fun. And there's things that goes on at every tournament, but the fun factor when you got guys like Jeff Dodd and Bill Dance and George and Trevor and Josh and all
Cindy Stokes and
he was there. Them Moore boys, all them guys are just a blast to be around. They're a ton of fun. It's like one big family, and the whole catfish community is pretty much that way.
Right.
But we've had a really good time at the lake this year, and I hope you're coming back to the lake, by the way.
I'm working on it, and I'm actually working on trying to get Ozarks, maybe work on the date a little bit, but I think the date wasn't bad. Fishing was just tough, and possibly Truman. I'd like to get on Truman as well. So.
I love fishing Truman. I like fishing Truman actually better than I do Lake of the Ozarks because there's not nearly as much boat traffic. There's great fishing on Truman. The problem is there's not very many big towns, maybe Clinton area or somewhere like that where you'd get up in there to get into some. Warsaw is a great place to fish. It's fairly close to the Truman Dam, but that's on the lake. So. But Truman's got some wonderful fishing in it, and you can go a long way on Truman. If you feel like making a run, you can make a long run.
That's right. And I think I've seen bigger fish come out of Truman than Ozarks. Now, I may be uneducated, but just from my perspective, I think there's bigger fish. So,
well, as you well know, Truman Lake and Lake Ozarks was part of the Osage River, which dropped off into the Missouri River and then into the Mississippi River. Them blues for hundreds of years have been going up and down all them river systems until those dams was put in there. So we've got good genetics all the way through that river and lakes. And the biggest fish that I know of that come out of Truman Lake, and this is just what I know of, they're probably a lot bigger ones than that, was an 86 or an 83 or an 86. Troy got, we was at a tournament up north one year, and he called me up and said they caught that 83 and a 51 on Truman Lake.
Fish.
Them was great fish. I don't care where you're at. Them are great fish, but
right.
Missouri lake fishing, that's exceptional. So,
I've struggled, on the Missouri River since I started, but I see a lot of good turnouts on those 2 lakes as well. So.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a shot and then hopefully be able to work back out towards the Missouri River out in Kansas. I like to get out in Nebraska and get out west a little bit more. So my hair don't look great for then.
Well, The Missouri River is one of the top fisheries in the United States. A lot of people are afraid of it. A lot of people will not fish it at night, period, for any amount of money. It's really no worse than any other river. It just bears watching. And the reason is there's so many dikes and different things on it. But it's not heavily barge traffic like it used to be. Um, there's not. I'm not saying there's not barge traffic because there is some, but not nearly like it was years ago. And there's not as many. I don't believe there's as many pleasure boaters on it because there's a lot of current on that river.
Yeah.
But you know, if you pay attention to what you're doing and you have experience running a boat, you'll be just fine. I mean, it's just that simple. But if you plan on bumping the Missouri River, you better have some pretty good batteries because it will test them.
That's right.
Extremely well. Yeah, and that's good because there's a lot of great fish caught on that river anchor fishing.
I think I've seen more 100-pound fish come out of there this year than I have anywhere else combined. So,
you know, and I can remember not too many years ago, Jeremy, where the Missouri River didn't have very many 90 and 100-pound fish. There was a lot of 60, 70s, 80-pound fish. But since they put the restrictions on there where there's no commercial fishing on the Missouri River from where it comes in on the west side to the St. Louis where it dumps into the Mississippi, it has flourished. It's proof in the pudding that not allowing commercial fishing on that river has jumped the amount of large breeders that we need to sustain our catfish population. And we're all working in every state in the union, I think, to try to get regulations like that put on the other rivers, the Ohio and the Mississippi and all the other rivers. And we really need that done. And I'm hoping that all the hard work that everybody in every state puts in will amount to something. I know there's a lot of things going on right now, not just in my home state of Missouri, but in Tennessee and Kentucky and Alabama. They're in a struggle down there. The guys in the Ohio River have been struggling for years, and I know they got a big meeting coming up. I hope that they get something done over there. We need these regulations so bad. And one thing that I would like to touch on, I keep seeing the comment trophy fish. I think our point would be better made if they would call them large breeders because let's face it, those commercial guys and the pay lake guys, they don't care about trophy fish unless it's benefiting them. But they do care about large breeding size fish. And if we can get that point across to these legislators, maybe they will understand that a small fish might lay 30,000 eggs and a large breeding fish, and they breed way past 30 years old. It's a proven fact. You can go on the Missouri Department of Conservation website and find that information. Those fish will lay hundreds of thousands of eggs every year. And we need to retain those big females and males for breeding populations for years to come.
I agree. And there's a lot of educational factors that's got to come into that, educating public and fishermen, and there's a lot of work still yet to do. So
there is, and I, in the last couple of years, I have seen a drastic change in the way people are approaching the people that actually make the decisions and fix it to where it's going to be. It's not 100% yet, but we've gained great grounds. The way people talk to these people online and different things, it's not nearly like it was a few years ago when they was cussing these guys. They get you nowhere. The guys have come around. They're doing it the right way, and they've got some great people on board with them now. It's not just a handful of people working at this. There's a bunches and bunches of people working to get this done in every state, and they're working together, and that makes all the difference in the world. Now, if we can just get an organization put together to put everybody in every state together to have one large number of a group that can say, go to Missouri or go to Tennessee or go to Indiana or Ohio and say, okay, we've got this number and we want to find out what it takes to get something done. That's when it's going to start paying dividends for us. Tim Doc is not going to be on the show tonight. You watched the beginning of the show, and we talked about it. talked about it there. But what's going on new with Cabela's, man?
Although we've got a lot, of course, we had a lot going on new this year that we started the $20,000 in points race. And you got a home state boy that's leading it right now. That just took the lead in Crothersville. And got a lot of guys from all over the country fighting it out. Of course, the Classic being in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Are y'all coming to fish the Classic?
I don't know if we're not qualified, I don't think.
I'll have to look. I'll call you tomorrow and check.
Yeah, I don't think we are. I don't know that we aren't, but I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, to be quite honest. I got Mississippi River Monsters coming up, buddy, and I've already talked to you about it. And for the guys that don't know, or we go down and do a show every Thursday before Mississippi River Monsters, and this year we're going to be down there for the event that you're going to be doing weigh-in the week before for the Excel Boat event, and we're going to be doing a Monday show. What is it? The 6th, the 3rd. We'll be doing a Monday show, the 3rd, and then Thursday, the 6th, we're going to be doing a live show, and Jeremy is going to let us set up and do the show, providing the weather is good and we have the internet connection because it's tough inside the pyramid. And we're going to do the show outside on his stage, and that's going to be a ton of fun.
That's right. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it'll be a blast. And like I told you before the show, I talked to Stacy Gaston earlier, and Stacy's going to be down there for our Thursday show. So we'll have him as a guest on there. He is a hoot. And I know it was hot in Alabama because he done a live feed a while ago, and he was leaking water through his shirt where he wasn't supposed to leak. So, it was pretty fun. He's a fun guy, and we'll get a lot of the other guys down there. I'm hoping we can get George, Jeff, and all them guys to come on there. I think it's going to be a ton of fun, and we're really going to have a blast down there, Jeremy.
Well, and for a good steak dinner, I'll turn on the air conditioner and my big fan, and we'll stay cool.
That sounds pretty tempting, I'll tell you. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a bunch of people in chat tonight, looks like.
We do. That's why I tell you, they start tuning in pretty quick. I'm impressed. So.
Yes, they do. I want to mention something that I don't know if you're familiar with or not, but we have a new sponsor on our show that stepped up to the plate in a big way and give us a lot of prizes. I have sitting here looking at a bunch of fishing rods, anywhere from Channel Cat rods to 8-foot heavy action, and they're made by B&M, and they are now a sponsor of our show and on the RigRap Prize wheel. And what do you say we spin the RigRap Prize wheel and see if we can come up with a winner for some stuff?
Let's do it.
If you will give me a number between 1 and 5, we'll just see who we can spin it for.
1 through 5. Let's do 3.
All righty. 1, 2, 3. And the winner is Odin Carr, Odenacarr. Let's see, Cindy, what you can win for Odin.
All right.
River Rat Reel Repair. Odin, if you will send River Rat Reel Repair a message on Facebook and tell them that you won a free reel cleaning on Catfish Weekly, he will fix you up. I have 3 sitting here waiting to head down to him. I was supposed to get them out today, but I have actually been on the phone nearly all morning and all afternoon. So I'll get my package boxed up to him. I've got to have a couple of them repaired, and that is the guy to send them to. Jarrett will be happy to take care of you and get you fixed up. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap Prize Wheel game. All right, let's get back to what we was talking about with the new stuff coming up with Cabela's.
Well, we've got the new XL boat on board, which I know you saw it. Be given away. That's a sharp boat. I like it.
Sharp boat. Yeah, very nice.
Ours will be wide. It won't be that sharp green that he had, but it'll be fully loaded, $60,000 boat, motor, trailer, electronics, trolling motor, bait tank, rod racks, B&M poles, full set. So all you have to do is put gas in it and put line and reels on your poles and go fishing. So,
man, that's awesome. That's a heck of a prize.
a heck of a prize, and we'll be doing it again next year as well. So we're going to be working with XL next year as well. And one of the new things for next year is our classic is going to be on one of the most popular waters in the catfish world on Wheeler Lake. So first November.
That's that in itself is a drawing card just to get to go to Wheeler. I'm a Mississippi River guy. I love the Missouri River, but the Mississippi is my favorite. But man, Wheeler's got a special place in everybody's heart that's ever been there.
I know, and it's a very popular place, and you can go down there and catch a lot of big fish. So we're excited. Decatur really stepped up to the plate. They're doing the Winter Blues on Wheeler this year. We're doing a classic and a one-day event next spring. So it's really going to be awesome next year on Wheeler Lake. Everybody's going to get their fair share of fishing down there. So
that's outstanding. Glenn from RigRap would like to know, how many tournament events per year does King Cat put on?
Well, I'm glad to say we've been working with Mr. Glenn for, I think the first time we met him at RigRap was at ICAST in Las Vegas, or the first year, one of the first years I started. But to answer that question, this year we've got 21 tournaments, 20 and a classic. Next year, being that classic is in November, it might be a few more. Where I can put a few fall tournaments in place and get a few more tournaments in everybody's yard. So it'll be right there around 20 to 22 or 3. So
that's awesome. Here's a tidbit of information that I'll bet you didn't know. Well, you might. The new Excel boat that's going to be given away will be outfitted by D&T Custom Rod Racks. They're building a custom rod rack for that new Excel boat that will be given away at Mississippi River Monsters.
Now, that's Mr. Dustin, right?
That is correct.
That's right. I seen that one he put on your boat. That's sharp.
Oh, man, I love it. It's gorgeous. Works out really well. He done a prime job for it, and I'm so glad that new boat will have one of them rod racks on it. It'll work perfect. They're just outstanding.
I think he'll be making our Angler Team of the Year this year, our points race trophies, like he did for y'all's Catfish.
Another great prize that he built for us. It was amazing. He done a bang-up job. Dustin just got it going on with so many different things like that. I know he makes those River Life signs, and he's doing really well with that. Dieter Melhorn wants to know if you're old enough to drink yet.
I just saw that. I was trying not to laugh. I actually am. I'm old enough to do a lot of things now that I'm 24. I'm getting old. Hair's turning gray.
Oh, Dieter, man.
Life will make you get old quick. So.
Oh, mercy. That's Dieter. He's a mess, man.
It's been a while since I've seen Dieter. Trying to get a few more out his way in the Carolinas. So
it's hard to cover the entire United States.
It's hard for one man to.
Yeah.
That one truck and trailer is going to fall apart before I get the whole United States covered.
Right. It's new this year, isn't it?
Yeah. We put almost 50,000 miles on it since January. So
right. Cliff Miller has made a post on our chat that Cabela's needs to do a tournament in the St. Louis area right downtown. One of the things, and I've done tournaments in that area, it's really hard to find a spot that has enough parking for a giant tournament and to get permits and everything. I don't know how hard it is to get. Now, Alex has done some checking on that to find out how to get permits to do the tournament downtown. But let's face it, if you have a large tournament and you do it at Columbia Bottoms, where the majority of the tournaments are, there's limited amount of parking there. People are having to park in the grass along the road and all that stuff. And Lincoln Shields is the other place down there, and it actually, I believe, is above the Alton Dam, so everybody's got to lock through, or you have to allow trailering and different things. So there's some catches to doing that, but Lincoln Shield is quite a bit bigger than Columbia Bottoms. But the way you guys do your tournaments, you could have it there, but still, if you have a big turnout, it's going to be hard to park everybody, even at Lincoln Shields, I think.
I'm actually working on one at the Arch.
Perfect.
I come this close to getting the classic there a couple years ago, but the city decided they were taking out that whole riverfront because it's like one giant boat ramp the whole way through St. Louis, and they decided they were taking part of that out, so I missed out on that. But got that fire rekindled, and hopefully we'll try to get something there, right there at the arch. So
there is nothing like putting in and out on the cobblestone in downtown St. Louis. Now, there's a lot of fish down there and a lot of good fish down there, but the idea of putting your boat and truck and trailer on that little street down there, and I don't remember what the name of the street is, but you back down cobblestone bricks and drop your boat off in the river right there on the cobblestone and just pull back up and park. That's something that it's historic, and it's St. Louis heritage, and it's a really cool environment to do the tournament.
Right there at the foot of the arch. You don't get that opportunity very often. So
no, you don't, and you can see everything. And for those of you that are watching tonight and have seen the fish that come out of that river, Ryan Casey, Jason Jackson, Russ DeVore, them guys, Dennis Casey, they've been pulling great fish out of there this summer. They've been putting a lot of fish on their boats. Probably the top guide in our area is Ryan Casey and the guys that help him. And they fish downtown a lot, but they fish other places too. But for numbers of fish, that's one of the better places to fish in our area is for numbers.
And Doc, or not Doc, but Lyle, I've got to say it. If you're not a St. Louis fan, you can come down there and get a taste of what a real ball team is.
Man,
down St. Louis. So.
Man, after
fan, you
have a tournament down there, we'll get Janet and Bink and Vincent, and we'll take them down. Let's see what a real ball stadium looks like and a real team.
All them Cubs, Red fans.
Yeah. I have so much fun with them guys. I
had to throw that in there.
Absolutely. They're not doing as well this year, but they're still my team, and I'm going to stand behind them regardless. Kind of makes me understand what the Cubs fans felt like for 108 years. I hate to be that way, but it is what it is.
That's right. And one of the things that me and you had talked about, Lyle, in the fishing tournament business, Crothersville, I think this is where the whole idea of this show come up, was at Crothersville. We had some guys saying there was a lot of weak fish, a lot of dead fish, when really we only lost 4. And that was because they were brought to us weak, and that was, there's just only so much you can do to them. So we got a lot of new things coming down the pipeline on how to better take care of fish when they get to us, and a lot of ways to try to educate on how to take care of them before they get to us so we can better get them in the water. So.
And that's great. We did talk about that a little bit, and there's been some talk of it, and I want to touch on that a little bit if you don't mind. On hot days, and it doesn't necessarily have to be sunshiny days, just hot days, people have got to have the means in their live well to take care of these fish, whether it be oxygen or aeration of some sort. Change the water out. If you have ice, whatever you can do to prolong that, and the least amount that you got to haul them on a boat trailer, the better that is. And I know that everybody can't fish the same spot. I got that. I really do. But it's a lot easier on them fish, hauling them in a live well on the water than it is in a truck and trailer. The bumps and stuff, it's not the same. And they're used to buoyancy. They're not used to being jolted around. You're going to have a mortality rate. I don't care what kind of fishing tournaments you do. If you have fishing tournaments, you're going to have a mortality rate. If the thing is, and I know you guys do it, we always did it, everybody does it, is you try to hold that mortality rate down to a minimum, to the least amount you can, and do everything you can to take the weak fish and make them go. Now, for what you was telling me about, you have some ideas in the works to help this process along.
Sure. One of the things, of course, if you come to any of my captain's meetings, I have a table with literature, brochures, things like that. And I have a full sheet on how to better take care of these fish from, and non-iodized salt, which is the same as your Keep Alive stuff. It just doesn't have the food coloring in it. You know, how much ice to put in like a frozen water bottle so the chlorine doesn't kill them, but cooling that water down a little bit helps a lot. So I have different ways of how to take care of your fish before they get to me. But when they get to us, you know, like at Crothersville, there wasn't a trophy catfish law in Crothersville, but being that it was going to be hot, you put 5 big fish in a big live well, it's going to be hard on them. So we put a 2 over 34, which is going to be the same at a lot of my events like that, just to keep those big fish still in the water and not stressing 5 big fish in a live well where it's possible. But of course, we've developed a very good reputation and a friendship with Extreme Bait Tanks, and he's building us a 100-gallon bait tank or bigger. So if we do have a weak fish, he's got a new prototype that I think he just released on his Facebook page that has a venturi and a pump in it, and it pumps small oxygen bubbles through to try to better take care of those fish. But we'll have stuff like that to be able to have sitting next to the stage where we can throw that fish in there and work with him and not just throw him out in the river where he floats belly up and dies. So that's one of the ways. And then like Arkansas, I just found out after I talked to you, we have a release boat. It's a 30-foot tri-tune with a big tank in the middle. That's going to be making quite a few more tournaments with us to better take care of those fish and get them out in deeper water. But Arkansas Game and Fish at Helena, Arkansas is bringing 2 release boats, 10 biologists and game wardens to get them back to the water and work with them. And so those fish are going to have mouth-to-mouth resuscitation if need be at Helena, Arkansas. So definitely a few things in place to better take care of the fish.
You want to see him mouth-to-mouth fish.
You want to see him mouth-to-mouth resuscitate a fish? Me too. You know, Jeremy, I commend you for the efforts to try to do this. Brad Kilpatrick used to run Kansas City Catfish, probably had one of the greatest deals, and Alex had one from the fire department. I believe it was either Canton or LaGrange a few years ago. It's a great big deal that I believe they aired up or just filled up with water, and it just stood. They kept the oxygen stuff in. Those things are great. They're not feasible everywhere you go.
It's a dump for a fire department.
Right.
And we are actually looking at ordering one of those with a oxygen system or something to keep the water moving. That way we can set up and pump water in it from the river and keep it cool and work with those fish in that as well. So,
and that's great. It's really hard. And I know you guys, your little brother was helping you the other day, and I can't remember the gentleman that's with you at most all your tournaments was there. But one thing, these guys made a lot of trips up and down that ramp. And I don't care if you're your brother's age or the other guy's age, you don't take too many trips up and down that ramp pulling that wagon that you know you've done something.
That's right.
It wears you out. And
well, being that they're my little brothers, I have my, you know, big brother made them pack the fish up and down the hill. So,
but you know, that's a tough job, and a boat ramp. I can't imagine going up very far up and down the one at Memphis.
Oh, that'd be tough.
That ramp is very steep. So if it was going to be me and there was going to be any packing, the weigh-in would be done right there at the water, just so I didn't have to pack them up and down that ramp.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad we got those carts too, because the way of packing them was tough. At least you can roll. So
yeah, we used to have guys put the fish back in their live well and back their trailer back in the water and release them out of there. And some places you can do that. Some places don't have a big enough ramp for people to go in and out to do that. There's a lot of variables, and people don't understand that. And what we're all trying to do is strive to make it better everywhere we go. So. Now, guys, please understand that we're trying to catch as many of these questions as we can. Doc's not in here tonight, so they're running by pretty quick, and I'm trying to get them, and Cindy's trying to get them. But if we miss something, don't feel like we're ignoring you or anything. It's just we didn't see them. I did stop my feed so I could address the Northeast Kansas fishermen that told me my lab needed to go Kansas pheasant hunting. That's a great idea. I've never been pheasant hunting. I've hunted ducks a lot, but I never did do any pheasant hunting. But them pheasant have to be pretty quick because she catches robins and blue jays and stuff in our backyard. If I don't have her on a leash, she'll catch them pretty quick. So I think it'd be a lot of fun sometime. And I used to do some duck hunting and stuff, and I know what they're supposed to do. And she just pretty much stays in here at my feet while I'm doing stuff. And she wouldn't know what to do if a gun went off. Although she liked the fireworks, so I guess she'd probably be all right at it.
Well, you've got a chocolate, and I've got a yellow laying right here. So between the two, we can make it happen.
I used to dearly love my duck hunting, and after I had that first shoulder surgery, I couldn't hold a gun up any longer, and it just didn't work out to where I could do it anymore. So we haven't done it anymore after that, and lost my old dog, and I really lost interest then. But it is what it is. So I still enjoy her. She's a great ton of fun. Jeremy, what do you say we spin the old RigRap Prize wheel again?
I'm game. Let's do it.
All right, give me another number.
Let's go with the full 5.
All right.
1,
2, 3, 4, and 5. And the winner is Vonda Woody, VONDA WOODY. And Cindy will give us a spin and see what Vonda wins.
While I'm spinning, let everybody know that they need to sign up every week for this wheel until you get it fixed.
Every week. Well, it's going to always be like that. You go to catfishweekly.com, and a little thing will pop up, a box will pop up, and you sign up for the drawing right there every week. Structure Snakes, another great sponsor of our show. Bond, if you will contact Rusty Jackson with Structure Snakes and tell him that you won some Structure Snakes on the Catfish Weekly show, he will fix you up with those. They're a great product. I use them myself all the time. They get hung up very, very rarely. I've never lost one to date. Probably will the next time I go out. But right now, I can honestly say I've never lost one. They work out really good. They're a great product. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap Prize wheel game.
There was several talking about 2 to 3 fish instead of 5 fish.
I don't know what you're...
Instead of a 5 fish limit, 2 or 3 fish limit.
Yeah. Jeremy, I didn't see that, but Cindy says there were some questions about having a 2 or 3 fish limit versus a 5 fish limit. And that's the reason you put the 2 overs and 3 unders on that tournament regulations. Now, I'm a firm believer in the free fish limit on our water. The problem with big weigh-ins is there's a lot of guys that don't have a big enough live well for 5 large fish. And let's face it, anytime you're on the Mississippi, Missouri, Wheeler Lake, any place like that, you have the opportunity of catching 5 giants. It may not happen, but they're there to be caught.
Not in any of my Mississippi River tournaments, but other people's.
Right. Well, the opportunity to catch them is there. So that's one of the reasons we can't do a 5 fish, especially in this heat. You just can't do it. No,
you can't. And even in good weather, you put 5 really big fish in a really big live well, it's still hard on them. I mean, there's only so much space for them, and it's just like, putting 5 big guys in an elevator and stopping it for 8 hours. It's going to be stressful on you.
That's right. So, that's exactly right. So
we definitely talked about a 3 fish limit quite a bit, and especially when you get in these big fish areas. And that's definitely a possibility that we've discussed, especially this year, as hot as it's been this year, or even just not having tournaments in the hotter parts of the month so we don't have to worry about it because, it's just as much up to us to take care of these fish as the fishermen that are catching them. So that takes all the stress away, not having them in the hot parts of the month. So,
right. One of the questions that I was asked before the show, and I wanted to ask you, is when people bring these fish in to weigh in, how do you determine whether they're – I know what I used to do. I'll see if it's the same. How do you determine if they're still alive or not?
Well, the easiest way is poke his eyeball. If you poke it and he doesn't flinch or move or anything, he's dead. And normally if you poke a fish's eyeball, he's going to react in some way. It's very easy to be able to tell. This time of year when it's hot, Of course, they're going to be real white. Their gills are going to be white. If they just died, you can look at their gills and tell. And so there's a lot of different ways to look at them just to even see if he's breathing or not. So I've only had one, and that was at Crothersville, and we didn't weigh the fish. He didn't even get it out of the live well. So.
Great, and I commend you for that. And you told me that a long time ago, and that's the correct way to do it. You know, we done that tournament that time, and it was 107 degrees. My buddy John come up to the tournament, to the weigh-in, and he said, I got to disqualify myself. He said my fish died between the time I left where I was fishing and got to the weigh-in. 107 degrees. I mean, my God, they're going to lose some stuff at temperatures like that. And John knew that he lost them on the right end. There was nothing you could do about it. He didn't have no control over the temperature, and we found people to take the fish, as you guys did down there. Another thing that I was real pleased to see, that you actually found someone local to take the fish and utilize them so that they just wasn't floating around down the river. That was outstanding.
There's no point in wasting it if it's going to die. So
right,
did get the fish, and you know, that's something else, is being able to take care of these fish in the weighing line. If you have a weak fish, some way to get them to the front of the line or weigh that fish so we can work with him in our tank type deal is definitely in the plans as well. But next year, hopefully we'll have it set to where, you know, if it's 107 degrees outside at the captain's meeting, I can say, hey guys, it's going to be hot. We're going to a 3-fish limit or something like that. So.
I think that's an outstanding idea. And I did like the fact that you dropped the 2 overs and 3 under regulations on that tournament. I think that was a great idea, especially Ben's. A lot of the tournaments in that area, not necessarily there, have them regulations already, because you're right there. You're not very far from Memphis, and that's the regulations in Tennessee and stuff. So I think that was the smart move. I think it was the right move. But when you're talking about temperatures, upper 80 water temperatures or whatever it was down there, I don't even remember. But when those fish are like that, I think that you either have to do as you've done with the 2 overs and 3 unders, or you have to go to a 3-fish limit period to save those fish. Because let's face it, even a 80 or 100-gallon live well, if it's not changing water out all the time, it's going to be rough on them fish at them water temperatures.
Yeah. And you got to think, you're pulling a fish out of 50, 60 foot of water where it's a whole lot cooler water by quite a few degrees, and bringing them up to 85 to 90 degree water temperatures, which is why in your live well, the smart thing to do is early of a morning when you put in, fill it full of water and recirculate it, and keep that ice floating in like 2-liter water bottles or something that you froze the night before, and keep that water cool. That way you're not, in essence, shocking them when you put them in that hot water. So, or hot water you're used to. So there's definitely ways to take care of them before they get to us, and then we need to be able to take care of them just as well when they get to us.
Right. Well, I'm super happy to hear that you've got a tank coming to revive those in, and I know it'll have oxygen and all the things that they need. I'm really glad to see that Arkansas is going to have 2 boats to take them back out in the water and release them. That is a really outstanding effort on the state's part to furnish those boats to do that. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where a DNR, Conservation Department, whatever they're called in each state, has ever offered that, and I commend those guys for doing that. That's an outstanding deal, because I assume that it's going to be pretty warm down there too.
I would imagine if I'm going, it's either going to be hot or it's going to be raining. So one of the two, it's going to happen. But no, I really appreciate them guys coming. I know there's 10 game wardens and biologists coming from Little Rock, 2 release boats. If you've never been to Helena, the place to get to the river is right there at their boat ramp, or where we're weighing in at downtown, but it's real slack water, which is going to be hotter, so it's hard to get those fish back out into the mainstream river. So one way or the other, we were either going to have our release boat, and Arkansas stepped up to the plate and brought 2. So
that's outstanding.
That's awesome. So
that's outstanding. All you guys that are watching our show or will be watching this as it loads to YouTube, you guys need to get a hold of your state department or whoever conservation that is down there and commend those guys and thank them for helping promote our sport of catfishing by furnishing 2 boats to release those fish back out in the water. That's an outstanding venue. I hope Missouri is paying attention and they do that when you have tournaments out here, and as well as Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, all them other states, Alabama. It's not so bad at the lake, though. I mean, it's not like you got a really long way to go with them. But those guys taking those fish back out and putting them out there in the middle of that river where they're used to being, I think is a really, really cool deal. And Arkansas, that's the way to get it done.
That's right. That's right. Now, if we can just get more states, all the states would do it, but they're so strapped for budgets, and most of them can't afford to take a truck and a trailer out to the river. So it's getting more challenging. But like TWRA comes to Georgia's tournament in Memphis, I think, and gets them back to Mud Island. So,
you know, Georgia, I believe it's Jody that come down through there the last couple of years, or somebody that worked for him with oxygen. If you had fish in trouble, they put the oxygen directly in the tank in your live well. And I think that's another great idea. I don't remember how they done that, but if I remember correctly, they had a pretty good bubbling stone on the end of a hose, and you drop that in there, and they turn that oxygen on for a little bit to give them a shot. I was so impressed with Doc's live well last year. You know, we just had air bubblers in there, and when they checked our fish going through the line, and we was in line quite a while, they was amazed at the oxygen content in the water at his live well, and just those air bubblers. That's all it was. But you got to have something. You just have something, and it's really great if you can move that water. But anytime that anytime that boat is in the water, if you can keep changing out the water in that live well, you're going to be way ahead of the game.
Well, and that's what this new extreme, I don't know what he's calling it yet, but it's just a rectangle box. I'll have it at all the tournaments with me, and it's made to move the water in a live well and also pump, very small air bubbles through their gills and get oxygenated water moving in the live well. So something else coming out in the catfish world just to help take care of these fish.
Yep, absolutely. It's like I say, there's always going to be a mortality rate. If we can hold it down to the least amount that we possibly can, everybody use their best judgment and make sure they do everything they can to keep them alive in their live wells. You guys are stepping up, getting what you need on your end to make sure that they are salvaged and taken care of so they can be released alive back into the water. This is an ongoing thing for catfishing. This is compared to BASS and Crappie USA and places. This is a new deal, and we're all learning as we go. But we just
want it to sound like the catfishermen don't take care of the fish, because I think I've told every city I've ever been in that I have to commend them a whole lot. They take better care of these fish than most people take care of their animals. And I've seen lots of tournaments. I seen a tournament in Portsmouth, Ohio. The guy had the big fish by like 15 pounds and had hooked him real deep, and he was struggling. So instead of bringing the fish all the way to me, they got him back going and back healthy and released him instead of bringing it all the way to Portsmouth. So the catfishermen do a knockdown job of taking care of these fish. It's just when you get in this hot weather like this, it's tough. You put them in the water and they may go belly up on you right then, and it's
that's right.
So, but they do an awesome job. It's just some things that in this hot weather can do a little bit better to keep them going. So
we've had oxygen in our boats for years. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. As you could see, when I grabbed that bigger flathead that we had down there, he was mad, and we didn't have any. All we did that whole day, honestly, was circulate water in and out of there all day long. But he was pretty pissed when I pulled him out of there at last time. And here's I'm going to say this. One of the things that bothers me worst of all is people dropping fish when they're weighing them. I done it the other day. I can't ever remember dropping one before, and I've weighed a lot bigger fish than what we weighed the other day. I really have. But it hurt me so bad that fish got away from me. Maybe he was that wound up. Maybe it's I don't have the grip that I once did, but it tore me up to drop that fish because I hate seeing them fish dropped on that hard stuff because you never, if they're, that one there probably was all right because he wasn't really big, but those giants, when they get dropped on that stuff, it puts a shock in their body. You never know if they're going to make it or not. And I hate that. And I hate for people just to pitch them up and throw them in the water. Them fish have earned the respect to be laid in there and released gently.
Well, and that's another thing too, that I get caught up in the fishing tournament and this and that, and I'm everywhere, so I don't always catch it. But like a fish like what you had the other day that's just wide open, hard to get out of the live well, that's where instead of both partners holding up a fish, you make them both hold one.
Right.
You just don't even get that fish out of the box and leave him be, So there's a lot of things on that end that I just don't catch as often and stop, or I tell them to get 2 fish out and not paying attention, and it just happens. So that's also another thing to add to that we can do better as well, that I'm working on. My brain don't function that well sometimes.
Well, here's the thought that I have about that, and I'm thinking that after that, dropping that one the other day, and like I say, I can't ever remember dropping one of our fish. I had a couple get away from me when we used to weigh the fish at weigh-ins. Until after my shoulder surgery, and I couldn't lift them. It's just too damn big. But I'm thinking weight slings might be a great way to go if you've got to where you've lost your grip or you just physically can't do it. That way you could get somebody to help you lift it out. I know there's still guys that fish tournaments by themselves, not as many as there once was, but a weigh sling will cradle that fish, and I think that that's something that a lot of us, including me, should look into to keep that from happening, because it's tough to it tore me up that fish got away from me, because there was a time when I got a hold of one, it wasn't getting away, but that one did. And I don't remember what that fish weighed, but it wasn't 20 pounds, I don't think. It only had 20 something to start with. But they just move so fast.
I know.
And they're here the whole time anyhow, so you want them to turn loose.
That's right. And I actually just got in 2 weigh slings from Ego Nets. I've only seen it once the whole time I've been doing this, but a fish get away and fall off the side of the boat. And it was like you were talking about. It just hurt you more than it did anything to know that it happened and you couldn't stop it.
Right.
So that's another thing that we're going to be utilizing is those weigh-in slings. If you've got a big fish that's wild, instead of fighting him or him falling in the tub or falling in the boat, just put him in that weigh-in sling and get him off the boat that way. That way he can't hurt himself or anything.
Yep.
I did just get those in.
As you know, I'm no kid anymore, and Cindy and I fish a lot of tournaments by ourselves. If by chance we got a big fish in the boat, and hopefully we're not done catching them size fish, but if we get a big one in, the 2 of us can have it in the net. We can get it in the boat, get it in the live well, and we're good to go. But when we go to weigh in, our live well 73 inches long, we could get the lay sling, get it underneath there, both of us lift that baby up and get it to you guys with your tubs. I just think that that's something that a lot of us need to look into, not just me, but several others. But I'm looking at it from the perspective that I'm hoping we're still going to catch some big ones one of these days.
Yes, so there's a lot of things that we've got that's just kind of come about in the past few weeks, but it's everybody's job to take care of them, whether you're getting them to me or whether I'm getting them to the water. So.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And like I say, those fish was put in those tubs. Them guys got them right down the ramp, or I took that one down the ramp, and your brother was there to help us get in there. And the other guy, of course, there was guys waiting on the tubs before I could get it back up there. They was coming down to get it. But, everybody was trying to get them weighed quick. It was hot, and the water was warm and all that. But, I'm just thrilled that you guys are working to fix some issues that we had. That was one of the reasons I had on there, but you haven't been on here in a long time. You was due, man.
I was.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've missed a bunch of comments and stuff in here tonight, so guys, don't think anything about it. Like I say, we're missing Doc. This is 2 weeks in a row. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's home with Lynn and taking care of things there, but man, we really do miss him. Yes, Dustin, I didn't have any problem with the water heating up in our live well at all. We let the aeration thing, run water in and out of there all day long. It was on a timer, and it wasn't shut off for any amount of time, and it'd run for a long period of time. It'd flush the old water out, new water come in. We had zero problems with it.
We caught that 30 minutes after we was on.
Yeah,
the
we
water.
caught that the first 30, the big one, the first 30 minutes of the tournament, and it was very much alive at weigh-in. There was no problem with that whatsoever. So that's a great thing. Where's your next tournament?
My next tournament is coming up this weekend. I feel like these past 5 or these next 5 are just going to be all over the country. We're going to be in Huntington, West Virginia, right there on the Green Up Pool, southern West Virginia into Kentucky, God's country, by the way. I'll get to look at it across the river. And so we ought to see some big blues and some big flatheads, and then we're going to come all the way back to the Mississippi River and Helena, Arkansas. And me and the mayor's betting that we're going to have one over 90 there. So we're going to break the King Cat record there.
That could happen.
It could very well happen down there. And then we're coming back up to my home turf in Paducah, Kentucky. I get to sleep in my own bed that weekend. Then, of course, get to come out there and see you all at Memphis, and then to our classic in Jeffersonville. So,
I would have really liked to have made Helena, and I would have really liked to have made Paducah, but being gone for all the time we're going to be at in Memphis, I just can't do them all. I got to have some sleep, man. I think we got home from Crothersville about midnight or 12:30, something like that. I'm not sure exactly. Right in there. And I got up probably 9 the next morning. I didn't do nothing all day and slept nearly the whole rest of the next day. Yeah, man, that was a tough deal. We probably should have not drove home that night. We probably should have stopped somewhere. But you can't stop at the rest area. There ain't none between there and
60.
Buffalo. 60 has 0 rest stops on it.
I know the feeling. When it's time to go home, it's time to go home, though.
It is. It is.
There's no stopping. So
now,
we do it every weekend. It's just tough.
Yeah, you got them lined up. What's that, honey?
Time to spin.
Time to spin. Well, let's just spin a RigRap Prize. Give me another number, Jeremy.
All right, let's do the other way. Let's do 1.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one. Thad Brown. THADBROWN. It's Cindy.
Carl Wells wants to know if Cabela sells waistlings.
I don't know if you know about that or not. Do you know if Cabela sells waistlings?
Yep, they sure do. I don't know the brand, but I do know Cabela sells waistlings. They sell about everything the catfisherman could want. So
they sell a bunch of stuff.
Backwoods Fishing said that Jeremy bait fishes.
He does bait fish. Ask for.
They eat good, so don't be talking on my bait fishing. My
they do.
Good.
And if you will contact the good folks at Bass and More in Owensboro, Kentucky, which we will be there in October, tell them you want a prize on Catfish Weekly, and they will hook you up. They have been a sponsor of ours for a long, long time, and I believe they have a gift certificate for you that you can cash out right there in their store, online, on the phone. Call Jim and Sheila and Brandon up and tell them that you are a winner, and they will fix you up. Thank you so much for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap Prize Wheel game.
He's in the chat, too.
Thad is in the chat. Awesome. That is good. Did I forget? I hope not.
Yeah, you're supposed to tell something.
Oh, I'm not to that yet. I'm not to that. We got a bunch of stuff yet to do yet. Okay. Well, thank you so much. We'll get rid of that. But when did you tell me you was getting to Memphis?
I am actually going to get there Friday night. So Cabela's King Cat. I'm bringing down the trailer, truck and trailer, and we'll be doing, along with George's lady that handles the registration, she'll be doing that in our trailer Friday night for the warm-up event, the XL warm-up event. And then we'll be running the weigh-in Saturday. And the big fish deal that goes all through the week, I'll also be weighing in the big fish there at Mud Island as well. And you'll get to hang out with me 2 days. So that'll be fun. Give me something to do sitting at the boat ramp.
Absolutely. Now, the weigh-in is going to be at the pyramid. Is that correct?
Not for the warm-up event. The warm-up event will be at the Mud Island at the big ramp on the south end. So
at the top up there at the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll be on the south end, which is down there by the yacht club, I think. So
right.
We'll do it there, and then the big event I think is when TWRA will come and do it at the pyramid, get the fish in the water. So
okay, good deal.
It's a shame they can't do it at the boat club there on the dock where everybody just pull up there and not have to get the fish out and put it right back in the water.
And
yeah,
the only problem with the boat dock is if you put scales on the boat dock,
they move.
You don't think it's moving, but it is, and it throws them scales.
That's true.
Moves all the time. Yeah, you'd have to get off on the concrete.
We may very well do that. Nothing's nailed down. I just know we're doing it down there on that end at either one of the ramps or somewhere right there. So,
right. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. I know that you've got Tell City is now underway. Jerry Ishcomer, man, them guys,
awesome.
They?
I'm going to tell
great.
Anybody that deserve that any more than them guys right there. So, they've been all over the country with me, and they're fishing the rest of the King Cat tournaments coming up.
That's cool.
And they were due that win right there. I was very proud of them. So
Me too. And we got to meet them for the first time down at Caruthersville. What a great family! It's a family deal with them, and I like that aspect of it. They traveled to there as a family. They had the little ones there. They had the big ones there. They had a tough day, just like a lot of us did down at Caruthersville, but they was all smiling, all had a great time. They go up the next week to a place I'm sure they'd never been before and take the money.
That's right. And they went straight out to West Virginia this week, so they've been there. They'll be there all week. And they bring, like you said, the whole family, the 3 kids. Miss Rachel, who's the youngest, comes and fishes my kids' rodeo, and Hannah and Noah fish the big tournament. So I get them all throughout the day. So I was really proud of them. So
absolutely, yeah. There's great family. I really enjoyed visiting with them down there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I assume they're coming to Memphis too.
I think so. I haven't heard if they are, but I think they are. So
yeah, I think so. But I know they're going to be at Helena. They're going to be out in your West Virginia tournament, and they're going to be at Paducah. I know. They told me, yeah.
So,
awesome.
How many 14-year-olds can say they've won a national catfish tournament? So
that's right.
That's even better.
And I'm hoping that we get that to where there's more of those younger guys in this. We have several younger kids that fish with their parents or someone in a lot of these tournaments compared to what we had 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, and we're getting more.
And we're getting more of them, and I'm very happy to see that. I hope it keeps building like that. And guys like that winning one once in a while will make those other guys want to jump up there. Alex has a couple that fishes his series that are pretty young that go up. I noticed there was a youngster weighing fish in his live feed the other day that had been out there in that night tournament all night, and he looked like he was pretty stressed or still kind of whooped out by the morning, but he made it all night. He fished in the tournament, and they weighed fish in. Not sure how they done, but yeah, I'm glad to see these youngsters jumping up in there and catching these fish.
Yeah, I think I had 5 kids under 16 fish with me at Tell City, and 3 of them actually come into money. So
that's really good. That's really good, and those guys are hooked. They're cat fishermen for the rest of their lives.
That's right. You get them hooked early. And,
that's right.
That's an eventual goal in King Cat is to get a high school and collegiate deal started to where we can start these kids young in the catfishing world. And if you don't get them started there, this is a dying breed here. So
that's exactly right, and I'm glad to see everybody's working towards that. I do know that most people don't have an idea where Buffalo, Missouri is at. I mean, it's a little speck on the map. But they do have a high school bass team. I did not know about that. My barber actually told me about that. And I think it's quite a cool deal. Yeah, I agree, Cliff. He is. I think that I would like to see it be catfish, but let's face it, when you're in a small area, the majority of people probably are going to bass or crappie fish. There's not a bunch of competitive cat fishermen in my area. There are some, but I mean within a short drive distance. But your leader is from my home state, buddy. Justin Cook is Missouri boy.
I know you didn't comment on it a while ago. He's
I was just waiting for an opening, and you didn't give it to me.
Yeah, he's representing them Ohio boys have ran with it the past 6 years. And,
oh man,
he just slipped in there and took it from him. So,
well, Justin, I got to tell you, I fished against Justin Cook at a lot of tournaments, and Justin Neese and his partner won up there at Alex's tournament together. Them boys are tough now, and if you don't think Justin Cook and them Gerloff boys and Brent Riddle and some of them guys will find you at a tournament, take your money, pat you on the back, and laugh all the way to the bank, you're badly mistaken. Justin Cook loves to do that crap, man.
Yeah, I'd say you've never met them if you don't think they'll do it. So.
That's right. But, you know, these are all a great bunch of fishermen that we have in our area. They're all really good. Justin and Justin Neese, Justin Cook, Brent, them. I just can't name them all. The Gerloff boys, I mean, them is some of the finest people that you ever want to meet. Bo Brockman and I can go on and on. The list never ends. There's Danny McGraw. You know, those guys, they're great folks. And when you go to a weigh-in or something, and my God, we got Jason Mathena. We got Jason Mathena from Missouri. I mean, Jason works a lot. He hasn't been able to fish as many tournaments here lately, but I mean, when the big cat shows up, business is going to pick up. You better be playing on with the full deck.
Now, he's from Illinois, Missouri.
Yeah, he's from Illinois, but that's close enough. We'll accept him in the Missouri realm. But we do. The Midwest has got a bunch of great fishermen, and they're like that everywhere. I mean, there's some guys down in Texas that are pretty tough, and there's them Alabama boys. My buddies Trevor and Josh. I mean, they've done that for a long time this year.
Flip out there, South Carolina, and took all their money too. Never been there before, so
you know that's hard to do.
And here I am talking good about Josh Brown, and he's here talking about how much shorter I am than him. Just wait till I see him this weekend. It's going to be bad.
Oh, I ain't got much to say about that because you're both taller than I am. And everybody's taller than Cindy is. Well, Trevor, you are from the Midwest, but you're up there with them Iowa guys. But you moved. I mean, you just skipped over Missouri and went right on into Alabama. Sure. It's that Tim and they are fishing with college. Awesome. I can't. I'm losing out on some of these comments. They're still going. Jeremy, we still got 104 people watching right now after going on over an hour.
I know. I wish they'd listened to me that long on my live feed.
You know, we started to do a deal with your live feeds was where you was all the time, and it kind of played. You was always whenever I was available to do it. You was already doing one. You know, but you know, I think that this stuff with these live feeds for guys like you, that's all over the place and letting people know where they're at, I think it's a great idea.
Well, and it's good for the communities as well. That way, you're letting people know what's going on in these communities and kind of give them a little bit more publicity for having a tournament. Because that's what I try to tell people. You know, we may go to Paducah, Kentucky, and you may want to fish in Wickliffe, or you may want to fish up in Smithland. But you have to support these places that support the cat fishermen, whether it's rod and reel company or whether it's a city. You know, they want you there in town. They want the cat fishermen there over the bass fishermen. So that's saying a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something I enjoy about your feeds like that is when I get there, I already know where the good places to eat at because you done been there.
Hey, that's what I tell people. My big blue trailer don't float, so I don't get to go fishing while I'm so it's all about food. I got 6'7" to fill up. So
heck yeah, man. You know, here's something else. You guys go to all these places. Can you tell us what what determines whether you will go to an area or not to hold a king cat tournament?
Well, a lot of it depends on community support. You know, like all the people on the trail this year have just been so excited. You go out to Twaukene, Texas, on Lake Twaukene, in West Twaukene, get that right, and they eat, sleep, and breathe catfish, and this is a huge thing when the catfishermen come to town. So it takes the community support, and that's the one good thing about catfish. Every body of water has catfish, whether it's channel cats, blue cats, flatheads. So it's definitely not a problem picking out. You know, every lake in the country has channel cat and has channel cat fishermen on it or blue cat fishermen, and so a lot of it just depends on the community support and whether or not the fishermen will come. You know,
what about? Do you look at the fact that they have a big enough ramp or parking area or motels and things like that? Surely that all goes into part of it, yeah.
Sure. You definitely want to go somewhere where the fishermen can go eat, have a place to stay, and they're not driving 30 minutes to go stay at the nearest place. Because I know I wouldn't want to, which is the good thing about me setting them up is I can pretty well pick, places that people are going to want to be or where I'm going to want to be. And not putting them somewhere I don't know about. But that's a big factor. Boat ramps, not so much. A place to park them, yes. You get on Mississippi below St. Louis or on the Ohio River, a decent boat ramp is hard to find. So it's a little challenging, where we do our crappie tournaments and they got beautiful, nice ramps on these big lakes. So that's my biggest challenge in setting up a tournament is the boat ramp situation. So
yeah. We had a great question here. Do you ask your primary tournament anglers what city they would like to see included?
I do. I've done that before, and I encourage everybody. I don't know if they're afraid of me. I wouldn't think they would be afraid of me, but people don't tend to call me when they have opinions or questions or ideas. They may call somebody else, and then they call me, which is great. But anytime anybody has any suggestions, I would be tickled to death to be in a lot of bodies of water that I'm not. I just can't be there all at once,
Right.
Me and Mike running fishing tournaments. So by all means, give me a call, where the fishermen want to be, what they want to see in a catfish tournament. Because I'm always open to suggestion, new ideas, new places to go. My cell phone number's out there. Anybody call me anytime. And like I said, I'm open to anything. So anything to make the sport better and the tournament better, all you have to do is give me a call.
Awesome. Jeremy, right quick, can you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they have suggestions, comments, or if they just want to shoot the breeze with you sometime?
Sure. First off, my cell phone number is 270-804-5012. It's the easiest way to reach me. I've got a personal Facebook page. I do all of Cabela's King Cat Facebook page, so they can message straight to there, or they can message me personally. Come out and see me at a tournament. That's an easy way to get a hold of me. But either way, they can text me, call me, message me on Facebook, however they need to get a hold of me. So
I've found out the easiest way is to leave a message for you, and then when you're not busy, you can call me back. That just seems to work out for me. And that's what people have to do me, because there's times when I am actually 3-4 days behind on calls. Like today, I was on the phone from the time I walked out here until the show started, other than taking the dog out a couple times and going in the other room. I mean, it's just been one of them days, and I don't see any different tomorrow. So sometimes you're a few days getting back to people, and they just got to understand sometimes it works out that way. And a lot of times you get stuff when you're traveling, you're already on the phone.
That's right. And that's what I tell people. I'm not ignoring you by no means. I have a disease called part-timers really bad. And so after I've been on the phone all day, I forget that somebody texts me. And it may take me 3 or 4 days to scroll down and see it, but I will get back with you if at all possible. So.
And that's right. Everybody will do their best to get back to you as quickly as they can. But, there's certain times of the week and of the month and of the year that it just takes a while. That's just the way it is.
Or like when I go to Mobile, Alabama with J. Paul at XL Boats and go fishing, I just don't have service very often down there. So,
I'm going to say something here, and it's not being disrespectful to anyone else, but XL Boats is really stepping up.
Yeah, there's a lot of catfish people in the industry stepping up, and XL's one of them that just really jumped in and ran with it.
They are. They really are. And you're right. There's a lot of companies that are stepping up for our industry. And honest to God, we don't invent a new fishing plug to catch catfish every week like the bass guys and the crappie guys. So we're limited on what new technology comes out other than electronics and boats and stuff like that. So when a company puts out the effort like some of these rod and reel companies and some of these boat companies and some of these tackle industry people and hook companies and different things, when they go the extra mile to help our sport of tournament catfishing, that's outstanding. And I'm very pleased that, and it's not just Excel. I mean, Sea Arc's been doing it for a long time. There's others, but it's
three come out with a big boat. I mean, there's a lot of people in rods. I'm gonna have to disagree. You know, we run a crappie trail, and my dad was a bass fisherman, a tournament bass fisherman, and this is a whole new industry, and they've been going for 30 to 50 years between the two.
right.
And they've had a long time to come up with this stuff instead of going out and fishing with the minnow. You know, they're fishing with jigs. As I sit back and look, you know, and try to get new sponsors on board, you've got so many industries from drifting. You have drifting socks, drifting weights now. The Demon Dragons that have been so popular this year. You got planer boards. So it's kind of creating its own little market. It's just not what people are used to in the bass and the crappie world. It's just changing for the cat fishermen and starting its own. So I think you're going to see a lot come up. And as the sport grows, there's going to be new ideas, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. And those new products are going to come. It's just not going to be in the terms of soft plastic and hard plastic crankbaits and jigs and stuff like that. So,
but you know, these guys with these new bait tanks and live well companies and rod rack guys, these guys are coming on board, and planer boards. You know, Doc and I talked about this several times. Him and I have used planer boards for a long time. A lot of other guys have. Nobody let that information out. Boom. When a bunch of these planer board companies come on board, you got to do it. I mean, you no longer a secret that we not tell anybody about, because now it's out there for everybody, and that's good. Larry Muse with his Dragon Tails. That was a big deal. He was on our show and told us about that. And then a few weeks later, Steve done a video with him down at Owensboro. That was a great trick. And he didn't have to tell us about that. You know, I never would have done that. I would have thought of that. Why? I don't know. Because, you know, where we fish, we use bank sinkers and bounce them off the bottom all the time and drug them through, and it just got hung up. You just tie another one on. You know, you run light enough line on them, but when they broke off, you just grabbed another piece of line, another sinker, tied on. But it was a great trick Larry shared with all of us, and there's been tons and tons of other things. But all this stuff coming together is making the sport better. One of the questions we had that flew by just a minute ago, are you guys always going to allow trailering, or at some point are you going to stop that?
Well, see, the problem, it's a logistical issue as well. People don't understand tournament insurance and, you know, $2-3 million liability of everything. So it gets really expensive when you're doing a one launch deal. Actually, it gets really expensive, but that's not a big deal. It's just, well, you know, we were just talking about Mississippi, Ohio rivers. And even in places on the Tennessee River, there's a lot of ramps that are hard to launch 10 boats in an orderly fashion or in a time wise. And so there's a lot of facilities on these rivers where the majority of these catfish tournaments take place that are not really conducive to launching more than 20 or 30 boats. So it's a logistical issue more than it is anything. And that's been a kind of a heated topic here lately in the king cat world, between us internally and between the fishermen on what's the right way to do it. You know, if Decatur, Alabama is doing all this to get all the fishermen here, and they're going and staying at Joe Wheeler State Park or something, it doesn't help them at all any to do this. So I'm not sure what the answer is on that, but it's a 50-50 on which way we're going. It's just trying to figure out what's the best decision all the way around for everybody involved. So it's been talked about back and forth, and it's still being talked about back and forth.
I'm sure.
But it's just it's a challenging decision either way you put it. Either way you go with it, it's going to be pros and cons. So,
well, I will let you know that from being on your end of things for a long time, that it doesn't matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it.
that's right. That's right. I strive to try to make as many people happy as possible, but it's not ever going to work like that. But I want to do what's best, in other words. But I don't know what that is. So.
No, that's right. And one of the big deals that we was involved with a couple years ago is Brunswick, Missouri, on the Missouri River. They use 3 little bitty boat ramps because that's what they have.
Yeah.
And you choose which ramp at the captain's meeting that you're going to use, and that's the one you use. And when those are full, say the first one gets filled up, well, nobody used it, so you got to pick out of the next 2, and it's determined by your order. There's ways to do it, and for you right now, I see that trailering is the way that you guys are doing it, and letting people go out early. It depends on, like you said, logistics is a lot of it. Availability for ramps, parking. There's just so many variances that people don't take consideration when these things are being put together.
And having to have more staff as well. We have kids rodeos in the morning, so it's have to do that at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Go run a kids rodeo, run the whole way, and try to get home.
Right.
And as the sport grows, I think everything will change and more will be able to come of that. But like you said, right now, that's the easiest and the most feasible way to do it. And it gives, when it kind of started too, when they started doing that, guys were still fishing out of 12-foot John boats with 9-9ers, and that put them in the same playing field as everybody else. But as these boats grow and everybody's getting in these big fancy boats like yours, Lyle, or in an XL boat, it's changing. So people can, do that. I would never do a shotgun start because I'm not going to be responsible for somebody getting hurt, just like trying to get people to wear life jackets. I want them to come back to me safe.
That's right.
Maybe, but I'd rather them come back. But possibly an ooze off where you send 1 or 2 at a time, or even where they just have to check in and they can leave by vehicle or by boat.
Yeah.
There's different ways to go about it, but I know we'll never do a shotgun starter. I won't. So just from that aspect.
One question I was going to ask you, I know they're wanting to spin the wheel again, and I'm ready for that. Do you require life jackets to be worn at takeoff? Hello? Are you there? We might have lost him. Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Still hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, as long as you got me. We must have lost Jeremy. If he gets a chance, he can sign back in or something. It looks to me like he's locked up on the screen. May have timed out his phone. But as long as you guys can hear me, Cindy, we're going to spin the RigRap Prize wheel again.
All right.
Give me a number.
2.
2. 1. 2. And the winner this time is Jordan Lear. Jordanleer. Let's just give her a spin, Cindy, and see what Jordan wins. Demon Dragons. Woohoo! Jordan, if you will contact Captain Scott Banning with Tennessee River Monsters, tell him that you want a pack of Demon Dragons on Catfish Weekly. He will ship them out to you. Great sponsor with a great product. That's one of the new things that we was talking about before we lost Jeremy. These Demon Dragons have been a great product for a lot of people, and anybody that needs them can contact Captain Scott Manning. He has those and will hook you up with them. But Jordan, contact Scott, and he will fix you up with a pack of Demon Dragons. Thanks so much for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap Prize Wheel game. Cindy, I got a couple of other things to go over here.
All right. Yeah,
The
never
rig
check.
packs, the rig packs are on their way. They will be shipped this month. They're planning on having them available to everybody before the Mississippi River Monsters tournament. So bear with us. They're on the way. They got to get through customs, and they will be shipped out. In the meantime, if you guys haven't ordered some, Glenn has 3 or 4 left at his deal on the website with the first 100 pre-orders. Just 3 or 4 is all he's got left. So if you want those, contact RigRap, get on their website, order those up, tell them we want that deal, pre-order deal. And in the meantime, if anybody has not seen it, John Adams has a deal for 24 complete. This is a rig pack full of rig wraps, ready to go. You just fill it up. $89.99. This is $139, almost $140 value for $89.99. And that's at Warrior Cat Tackle. You can contact them through their website and get that handled. Man, what a deal it is. Trying to see what else it got.
Someone wants to know if you got a tip of the week.
A tip of the week. Well, I hadn't really thought about it. I
Listen
like
to your wife.
No, that wouldn't be it. That wouldn't be it. Be prepared, get quality bait. I'm not doing Doc's tip of the week because I'm not Doc, and that's Doc's deal, and he does such a good job at it. I'm not even going to attempt it. But what I will tell you is next Monday night, we're going to be talking about Mississippi River Monsters. We're going to be talking about the There's Jeremy back. And George Young Jr. will be on our show next week. So you should get tuned in if you have any questions for George about either. He'll be able to answer those. He'll be able to tell you all the specifics, all the stuff, and get it done. So George will be here. Hey, man, we missed you.
I lost you. That's
Sometimes people's phones overheat. Sometimes they lose connections or internet or whatever. But we're glad you come back. And if I look hard enough, I bet I missed some questions.
Well, I didn't see any. I commented.
Oh, did you? Okay, I see you there.
I was working on it. My phone, I think it died on me really quick for some reason. So.
I do have one more thing I want to talk about here. Right quick, give me just a second to get it pulled up. For some of you that follow Tim Hartwick with Whisker Sticks, they're having a special deal to where after they sell 75 lights, or after 75 hats are ordered, they're going to give away a 10-pack lights, a sticker, a cat rag, and a Garmin Striker 4 fish finder. I watched this last night. He done a live feed, him and Lena did, and somebody in that family is getting ready to have a baby. They was talking like it was going to be pretty quick. So there's a special on that too. You want to be sure to get in on some of that. But after they sell 75 hats are ordered, then they're going to give away these 10 lights, stickers, cat rag. That cat rag's an awesome product in itself. And a Garmin Striker 4. Now, this is a fish finder that works really well for bank fishermen. It's brand new. It's only been taken out of the package to make sure all the parts was there. So if you're looking for a hat from Tim, jump over there and get on that. I think that it would be advisable. That's a lot of giveaways of stuff for not to sell but 75 hats, and I think you'll go through those pretty quick. Roger DeMint, Thermocells are your friend. You are correct. They are awesome. When will the schedule be out for Cabela's King Cat for next year?
So our partial schedule is out. I think I have 5 or 6 events on there. We've got the Old Hickory tournament. It's a 1-day event. Of course, the Classic being at Decatur, and then the spring tournament at Decatur on Wheeler Lake. I know we've got Paducah back on next year, working on several that should be really easy and should come about really quick. But my schedule should be done here in the next probably 3 months. So it's already on the website what we have as it comes about. So all they have to do is go to Cabela's KingCatUSA.com, and on the far left-hand side, have a tentative 2019 schedule, and it'll be getting updated daily. Like today, we found out that Carlisle's back on. on Carlisle Lake and Lake Water. Hopefully, it'll have 2 events next year. So, of course, Watts Bar, my favorite. It didn't shine this year, but we'll be back at Watts Bar as well. So,
one of the things that I know that there was some stuff that I missed in chat a while ago. I seen bits and pieces of it, but a while ago it was really humming down through there. But and I've mentioned this several times. A lot of guys won't fish unless they can fish for big flatheads or big blues. Those guys are missing the boat. Man, I love channel cat tournaments. The weigh-ins are close. You catch a lot of fish. Everybody has a good time. I love them. I wish there wasn't so far away from a good channel cat fishery for me, because Cindy and I used to love to go over on the Illinois River and up in Iowa to those places and catch those. They're big channel cat, and they're fun. Man, anytime you can go catch 30 or 40 of them a day, that's a great day.
Yeah, I sent you a picture of a 10-pound channel we caught on Kentucky Lake on live. Yeah. Blast. It was awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And you go up, like, we'll be back at Pekin, Illinois on the Illinois River next year. You catch a bunch of big channel cats. Now, you catch a whole lot in a day's time, and they're fun.
You know, while ago, yeah, that's where we had a great time over there. And I'm going to tell you, we was talking about great fishermen in Missouri. That Pekin, Illinois area has got some of the top guys in the nation, too. They're loaded up over there with great fishermen, and they know how to fish that Illinois River.
Yeah, but they go to South Carolina and everywhere else, you know.
Tommy and Timmy do. They travel, and so does Luttrell's.
Yep.
You know, they're liable to be anywhere. Kenny Luttrell's a great guy. Tommy and Timmy, they're prince of guys. Just think the world of them. They've been doing a great job with that tournament series that they run out of Pekin for a long time, and just a quality bunch of guys that fish that over there.
They're my official bodyguards of the King Cat Trail, so don't mess with me.
I guess that's right. Yeah, I would say you're probably right about that. Jerry would like to know if Tawakoni is on schedule for next year.
Shoot, yeah. I can't ever – Tawakoni's like a home to King Cat. If it's just a little bit closer, it'd be good. But no, Tawakoni's in good shape. It's just not on the schedule yet. We're still working out some stuff because they're wanting to do some more stuff at the weigh-in, weather permitting. So –
yeah, Cindy said we'd probably do that next year. I've been wanting to go to Tawakoni Lake for a long time. Every year something comes up, or, you know, one of us is being worked on, you know, her knee, my shoulder, something. For the last several years, we've been wanting to go to Tawakoni for a long time. Michael and Terry Littlejohn are down there. Love to go down there and fish and visit with them guys. They are really a blast. We had them on the show here a while back. They do their own little show on Tuesday nights. And down there, what's the name of it? Talking with the Guides?
Yes, Tawakoni Guides.
Yeah, and, man, they got a couple of great guys that work for them. And Michael and Terry are just super nice people. If you guys get a chance tomorrow night, they'll be on Facebook. Be sure to tune in and watch them. They're really great folks. And, man, Tawakoni Lake, they catch some giant fish down there.
And people put the Tennessee River – and not that we don't have tremendous fisheries in the eastern part of the United States, but if people were putting on a bucket list, Tawakoni needs to be on it.
Absolutely.
At least with others, because it's with the same caliber, if not better at times, than a lot of our big rivers down here. So
that's right. You go to Tawakoni now, there's where them Missouri boys will come after you. Old Cook and Gerloffs, they like it down there.
Me and Justin talk about that Missouri boys or the Texas boys don't like it when they show up. So I think Cook and them 1 or 3 times down there in the past few years. So
yeah.
Them
guys are tough down there. They like the lake. And I don't know if it's because maybe it fishes like Lake Ozark. I don't know, but they've done exceptionally well down there the last several years. So.
How far west and north does King Cat go?
How far west and north does King Cat go?
As many miles as I can stand. We've been, the year I first started, we went to Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is a few miles south of Canada. Spent like 2 weeks out in Iowa and Nebraska, which I'd like to get back on Burwell at Calamus Reservoir, all the way out to Texas, and then we go to the other end of the state. You know, our Chester tournament was a few miles south of Philadelphia and down to the Carolinas, and then kind of everywhere in between. So we cover the majority of the eastern part of the United States from Nebraska over. So
Carl Wells says Texoma, which is another place I'd love to go fish and haven't been.
Yes, and we've had one on Texoma before. From what I heard, that can be a tough lake.
Yeah,
wants to be. But Twaukene can be too. So
They all can be if you hit them at the wrong time, man.
well, when Jeremy Coe normally shows up, that's when it's going to be challenging. So
what is it about you and the rain deal? Man, there this spring, every tournament you was at, I'd turn it on to watch weigh in, and it'd be raining. I thought, what's wrong with this guy?
Well, the way I look at it, tournaments are supposed to put the fishermen against the best fishermen. So I'm just doing my job. I'm making it a challenge and making you really test your fishing skills. So.
Oh, man. RigRap, yes, Lake Erie does have cats. They have great channel cat fishing in Lake Erie.
Got some really big fish, or really big fish there in Mendota, and some great big fish up north.
Mendota that's where my biggest channel cat from, and I was trying to think the other day, it's been several years now, but I caught one up there that was either 28.9 or 29. 20. Cindy says 29.9. I knew it was just shy of 30 pounds. It was a great fish. Cindy caught 4 fish in a half hour, and that all weighed over 20 pounds.
Yep.
And I mean,
there's some channel cat lakes that'll outweigh a blue cat tournament any day.
Yeah, we was in 2 to 4 foot of water the whole day. One of the things that gets me about the northern states, Jeremy, and I know this has nothing to do with catfish, and I probably shouldn't even say it, but there are some great, gigantic bluegill up north. And I mean, I dearly love to catch them things too.
Well, if you just come to Kentucky Lake and visit with me, I'll take you bluegill fishing. We got big.
Hey, buddy, you better watch out now. You be having somebody knocking on your door. I love to catch bluegills. That's one of my favorites. I rarely eat them, although I do like to eat them. But I just
rephrase that. It's bait to the cat fishermen. So
I do.
I get picked on every now and then.
We do go out and catch a lot of them for bait, but when they're that big, I'm not using them for bait. It's not that them blues and flatheads can't eat them. It's just that it's just like the big flatheads and blues. I'm not taking them out of the water, and I'm not taking them big bluegill or crappie or anything. I'll put them all back.
Yeah.
But that's for another story. But we'll get together these days.
We're fixing to spend a week together, so we can talk about it
Man,
on another show. So.
I got some pretty good places picked out to eat down there. I'm pretty sure you probably do, so it ought to be a great time.
I'm game. I like food.
Me too. Well, listen, Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight. We appreciate it. I'm looking forward to running into you down at Memphis, and we'll do a couple of shows on your stage. We'll have a blast. When we're down there, folks, we'll be down there on the Monday, which is the 3rd, and we will be down there Thursday the 6th doing live shows at the Cabela stage. So be sure to drop in. If you want to sit down and visit with us for a little while, we'd be glad to have you. For everybody that didn't see the beginning of the show, please keep Doc and Lynn in your prayers. Lynn has been diagnosed with cancer, and they need all the prayers they can get. He will be back on with us next week. Everything goes right. That's the main concern for us right now is Lynn's health and safety, and we want to make sure that everybody keeps him in their thoughts and prayers. Next week, George Young Jr. I want to thank everybody for watching Catfish Weekly tonight. And be sure to tune in next Monday night at 7 Central for George Young Jr. That's it.